Yo, 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 yo. Thank you for tuning in to talk about or to learn about writing two-step equations. So, if you've not watched all of 6.2, both part 1 and part 2, make sure you go back and watch that first because we need to know how to solve one-step equations. That's priority 1. Today we're actually not going to be solving in this video. We're not going to be solving any two-step equations, but we're just going to learn how to write them by looking at a word problem. So what a two-step equation is, it's just an algebraic equation that takes you 2 steps to solve. So in the past, all you've learned are one-step equations, like this. Okay, that'd be 1 step. The only step you had to do, the 1 step, was to divide both sides by 3. So now we're going to talk about two-step equations where there's going to be multiple values to get rid of in order to get x by itself. So now it might be 3x plus 6 equals 9. So now I have to get rid of a 3 and I have to get rid of the 6. So that would be 2 steps. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, all we're doing, like I said before, all we're doing is writing two-step equations. We're not going to be solving today. So I was looking at a word problem and figuring out what the unknown value is that I want to represent my variable with, and then what else is going on. So this first one, a 1-year membership to Metro Gym costs $460. So for 1 year, the cost is $460. There is a fee of $40 when you join, and the rest is paid monthly. So it looks like that fee is just a one-time $40 fee for joining, and then you have to pay monthly, and then after all of that, the entire year, it's going to cost $460. Write equation to represent what you will pay monthly for the year-long membership. Write an equation that would help members find out how much they pay per month. This is the same thing. I don't know why we wrote it twice. So we got to write an equation to figure out how much you're paying monthly. So we know 1 year, the total for 1 year is $460. So we always want to have the equals. It's always going to be equal to the total or equal to where we're going to end up at. So after 1 year, the total cost is $460. Well, we know to start, they have to pay a $40 one-time fee. Plus, they have to pay a certain amount every single month. Well, one thing I do know is I know that there are 12 months in the year, but I don't know how much they have to pay. So I'm going to use m for my variable to represent how much they have to pay every single month. I now know that if I subtract, I know that they have to pay the $40 total. They have to pay 12 months out of the year, and they have to pay a monthly fee each month. And then when I add up the $40 up front plus the 12 months of payment, it's going to give me a total of $460. This is a two-step equation, and I'm done. Typically speaking, a two-step equation, you're going to have some kind of constant where there's no variable, and then you're going to have a variable attached to something. Okay, so you'll have a variable with a coefficient, some type of multiplication or division. Okay, and that's it. That's all we're doing today. You don't have to solve that. You don't have to tell me how much it costs per month. We're not getting into that today. That's not our focus. So let's look at the second one here. Billy has a gift card with a $150 balance. Okay, so this is kind of looks like where he might be starting at, right? Let's switch colors here. I'll go purple. So starting with $150 balance on a gift card. He buys several video games that cost $35 each. This word each right here. Each normally will represent, almost always will represent multiplication. So when we say $35 each, that's $35 times however many that he bought. So right away, I know that $35 each is $35 times however many games he buys. So I can use G. We can use any letter we want. I try to use variables that represent, that match what they represent in the context of the word problem. So because this is 35 times each game they buy, I'm going to write 35G. G represents the number of games that they buy. After all of these games he buys, the gift card balance is $45. This is where he ends up with. So this is where, whoop, we got a quick announcement. So this is where he ends up with, is the $45. So I know that's going to be equal to $45. The gift card started with $150. That was where we started at. And then he spent $35 on each game, and he ended up at $45. So because he ended up at 45, we're going to write equals 45. That's a big piece there. And then because this is where the starting point was, this is where we're going to start on our problem. Now, when you have a gift card and you spend it, if I did this, this wouldn't make much sense. If I put an addition sign here, because I'm starting with $150 and I'm spending money. When you're spending money, you're losing money off of that gift card. So that's why it's important to make sure that we put a subtraction symbol here. Started with $150, started spending some money, which is why it's subtraction. I spent $35 for each game I bought. That's why it's $35 times however many games I bought. And I ended up with $45. There's my two-step equation. And G would represent the amount of games that person bought. Okay, I got one more for you. So Leon receives a birthday gift of $50 from his parents and decides to save it. Each week, he adds $5 to his savings. So here's that key term, each week, $5. So each week is going to show us some type of multiplication. How many weeks will it take for him to save $120? I want you guys to pause it right here and see if you can write this equation on your own. Okay. So he starts off with 50. He's trying to end up at 120. So he started off with 50. He's trying to end up at 120. So we're waiting to see, trying to figure out how long it's going to take for him to get to 120. So I know I'm looking for the left side to be equal to 120. So we started off at 50. He started adding $5 each week. Oh, so that's $5 times however many weeks that he has $5. And that's going to get to 120. So we want to know how many weeks. Because it says how many weeks, we know that that is what represents our variable. Okay, so this is number of weeks. This right here, this $50 represents the starting amount. And this is amount saved weekly. Sometimes you will be asked to identify what each piece of a two-step equation represents. So this is what I would do. I would say, well, $50 is what he started with. $5, that with 5 represents the amount of money that he saved weekly. W represents the number of weeks, and the 120 is his goal amount. Our final goal amount. Doesn't really matter. And that's it. So, look to see where we're trying to end up. Okay, or what the total is, where we're trying to end up, or where the total is going to be. That's going to be on your. That's going to be the one side for your equals, and then everything else is going to be on the other side. That key term each represents normally multiplication. Sometimes you'll see the word per. This is also a good indicator word for multiplication as well, and so on. So things to remember again, I would write each slash per equals multiplication. Okay. There's your independent practice problem. Please do your best on it. Try it out. See how you do. There's no harm, and if you get it wrong, it's okay. But it's going to be more damaging for you not to try it than it is for you to try it and get it wrong. So give it a shot. See how you do. We'll go over it. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I appreciate you guys watching. And that's it. Gradius is out.